Hello, my darlings. Good evening, and welcome to our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle ATL By Night. Chapter 4, The Door into Summer. Let's welcome our vampires.
My name is Tyler Sutherland, playing Aaron Ulrich.
My name is Ian E. Muller, playing Jackson. That title is far less concerning than the last three.
Yeah, for real.
Zachary Vado playing Anton Krvoposkov.
And Brittany Trembauer-Smith playing Melisanda.
And I am your storyteller, Ellie Collins. As always, you can check out our sponsors via our link tree, which is in chat right now. And don't forget that you can use the code ATL by Night at dieharddice.com to get 10% off your order. And as a little announcement before we start, we're going to have a little bit of schedule weirdness coming up, as a few of us will be out for Gen Con. So we will not have an episode next week. And then we will be back with a special guest for that episode following on the 9th. And then we will be out again as our wonderful producer, Emily, is getting married. Yay! So we're going to be skipping a couple weeks there, but we'll be right back after I think that's the 25th or 26th. and we'll be continuing to run through there. So, I think that is all of our announcements. So without further ado, let's sit back and relax, and let's tell a vampire story. When last we saw our kindred, they had split up to pick up two new lost childer. The first, known as the Spider, was a spirited young man caught trying to get through the airport TSA. The second, Sin, a proud social media influencer with very little concern for the Masquerade. However, both have been delivered to Olivia to begin their lessons and join the society. Tonight, we start downtown, as Alima has requested for you all to meet at the Ventru level of the King and Queen building, specifically a boardroom in the Queen building, to discuss the finer details of the anniversary party. When you arrive to the building, an assistant to Alima lets you know that she will be meeting you up on the next floor. Do you recognize this worker from the country club? He escorted you all to the elevator and up to the boardroom, led you inside, and there is Alima sitting at the head of a table in her stately glory with a sari of deep blood red with black lace accents and black crystal embellishments. She says, "Good evening, everyone. Pleasure to see you all. I wanted to discuss the specifics of the party with you. You're all ones whose opinions I value, so I look forward to hearing your ideas, your questions, your concerns. Please sit down."
See Jackson's face and just mutter, roll with it, and go sit down.
Mel will sit as close to Alima as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I did have a few questions and concerns about security. This is going to hold a lot of very high-profile, important kindred, and I would love to know what you are thinking about for security.
On the flip side of that, it's also going to hold a lot of very angry, bloodthirsty, misinformed, backwater-minded kindred who don't like thin bloods or certain other people. So what about security against them as well?
Internal.
Well,
Security in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we cover both
Yeah.
sides of the fence.
Love it. Love
to
it.
start, the party will be at one of the venues at the Botanical Gardens. It's one of the places in the beginning. It's because there is a, shall we say, unique viewing vantage point from a nearby skyscraper for safety.
I see.
I don't-
Additionally, there
Seems to be working.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Cirrus, as well as a few associates of mine, will be working.
And being in a heavily wooded area will be convenient.
Additionally, the location is public enough that no one will get too out of control, but private enough that we don't have to fret the Masquerade too much. As for Thin Bloods and Gangrels and Brewha, the invitations to our outside guests have already included that this will be Elysium and that we have allowed all to be in attendance, similar to what they experience with the Succubus Club, which allows everyone, regardless of affiliation.
So as long as they are okay with the Succubus Club, they should be fine here.
And are they aware of the consequence of going on a line?
That is where our very special guests come in. We'll be having guests including Justicars and Archons.
I was going to say, frankly, I would be surprised if any of them are uncertain as to what happens if they get out of line, considering who's in attendance. Not even just what we can provide.
The Justicars and Archons will be keeping the lines here.
Great.
So I need everyone, best behavior, no ghouls, no powers, no nothing, or I will personally bury you in the Azalea Walk.
I have a hypothetical question.
Yes.
If a kindred has had negative encounters in a city that resulted in a blood hunt being called on them that was unsuccessful in that city, are they safe in other cities if said princes and or related people come to that city?
I understand. As Alpha has not been informed of any blood hunt, you are under the protection of Alpha.
Cool.
There would have to be coordination between princes to hunt in another prince's territory. anyway.
Extradition is basically what we would need to have. And
Okay.
Clearly, there isn't extradition.
Unfortunately, Alpha likes you, so
Precisely.
Just
right.
happens to be lucky that it's also his primogen.
Blood hunts are not allowed to be carried out in another prince's territory without their knowledge, so if they were to come here, and I assume see you and attempt to ask Alpha for that, I imagine they will be met with a steely response from him.
Cool.
And outside of Alpha, you will be protected otherwise by the
Yeah.
rest of our security.
guns.
Yeah, that too. And that. Yes. All of the above.
Like I said, it's a heavily wooded area.
The only
Where
thing you should
this
probably
party
have...
will take place is not entirely heavily wooded.
Well, I mean, the botanical gardens has a nice
Yes,
escape
but
route
there's
from it.
plenty of places where you can remain seen by the security team.
Cool.
The only thing you'll have to watch out for is pointed words.
Yeah. Used
So
to that.
perhaps maybe you should stay away from them.
I mean, that was my plan, but then I was told I had to go, so.
Yes, you do have to be in attendance. But nobody's asking you to play nice.
We can teach you the fine art of avoiding people at parties.
Just play nice without any additional help. Yeah. Just play nice with this and not with all the rest.
But the theme for the party will obviously be garden party. Just dress your best. Any florals you wish to have. We will have formal invitations going out soon, which will include this. The gardens currently have an origami display, so we are allowing the local, well, it's the Japanese consulate, but it's the vampire division of the Japanese consulate to handle special events as well.
Interesting.
Fun. What do you need from us?
Well, considering that you are our best foot forward in many instances, as you are the faces that knew Kindred coming into the Camarilla first meet, I would like for you all to represent the shepherds and your mission with the utmost pride. As Alpha's intentions, I believe more of this will come to you later, Mel. Alpha's intentions are to begin soft selling them on the idea of the Renashri Camarilla being a official denomination.
So, like, point out how much normal Camarilla sucks.
Point out how well
Not
we're
exactly.
doing.
Point out
More-
that democracy and freedom is way more, with some...
Better than tyrannical monarchy. Yeah.
We have not.
Yeah.
We
Not
have not
exactly.
followed
better
it.
than anarchy.
Not exactly. Alpha intends to seek official recognition by convincing them to treat us like an experiment. If the official Camarilla can recognize us as an experiment, if the experiment proves fruitful and we increase our numbers, we don't have any true issues, then they'll stay out of our hair.
Well,
Okay.
we just did a massive culling of the Sabbat, and now we just have anarchs to worry about. So far so good.
So far, none of them have had any reason to come here except for a party. So I think Alpha can reasonably sell this as an experimental denomination, where it is still the Camarilla, and still the Camarilla's rule and expectations, but let's see what happens if we try something a little different. So we will be putting you all forward as our idea of the lost childer and what we can do for them puts us in an even better position than the Camarilla currently, as we are actively bringing people in, and some, like myself, might even say protecting the Masquerade better than the Camarilla.
I'm wrong.
Wouldn't argue there.
Certainly better than the Sabbat and the Anarchs.
We've also been able to show that we can reintegrate technology following the Second Inquisition with pretty reasonable success.
And outside of our recent antics, that we can somewhat peacefully coexist with other factions as well. I mean,
The Camarilla will still seek for eradication of the Anarchs, but I think Alpha intends to present it as persuasion than eradication.
Assimilation.
should they...
Not exactly.
Interesting.
Bargaining.
And what about our history recently with the Sabbat? How will that be taken by others who are strictly Camarilla?
I think all of you wholesale slaughtering them throughout the streets is actually going to work quite well in our favor.
That'll be the one thing that we actually can sell pretty well on. Following the Second Inquisition, the Anarchs, and everything else. Everything else.
And there will be a guest to sell your accomplishments against the Anarchs, as Lydia has agreed to attend as Camarilla.
Wow.
And
What?
she wishes to speak on the positive nature of change and getting out of the sect.
Glossing over the baseline question, how did we convince a Sabbat bishop to represent the Camarilla and speak against the Anarchs at our party?
Because she chose her family over the Sabbat.
Has she bent the knee to the Camarilla?
Sure she did.
She has, with Alejandro, agreed to play pretty for the evening. They both still wish to maintain their independence, but they agree that the best kind of independence is keeping the Camarilla out of our asses.
I question the motives, but so long as we're in a location where nobody can pull a fast one, then I think we'll be fine.
She has had the Sabbat completely wiped from her mind. All she wants is peace and quiet.
From her mind.
Yes. She elected to, what is it you all call it? Go to Tilly's naughty chair?
Really?
Yes. I'm sorry, were you not aware?
No?
Yes.
News to me.
I'm sorry?
My mistake. I knew Mel knew.
I did too.
We have group chats, guys.
Hey. It's been a busy week.
Yeah, to say the least.
But yes, she has chosen to relinquish everything to be with Alejandro and Sybil. And so she has chosen to play this angle as it is a valuable bargaining chip. The goal for the evening is to convince the Camarilla that we are so good at what we do that there's never a reason to come down to Atlanta ever again.
I suppose it's about the bishop willing to be reprogrammed out of the Sabbat by us is a good sell as well.
Indeed.
I still question the motives, but I suppose I am bound to give everybody the second chance if they want it.
I will say that our experience was that she seemed as honest as she could in her desire to be with her family, as opposed to what it is that she had been programmed to do. And that is the best that I can say. She did say that she willingly reprogrammed, so to speak.
She certainly had words to say about Alejandro previously, but if we have completely decimated her congregation, I could see the need to fall back in with family for safety. However, this may just have to be a we will see situation.
Yes, and
Yes,
if we
we will.
remember correctly, Alejandro was one of our greatest foes for some time, and one of the most frightening and untrustworthy people that I had met up to that moment.
Wait, really?
He was frightening up until we met him the second time.
Well, I found him to be abhorrent for a while, and
No, absolutely.
Alejandro will also be giving one of many of the evening's presentations to the Justicars about his work with Ignatius.
We're putting all cards on the table, aren't we?
It'd be interesting to see how that goes.
We are putting careful cards on the table.
What cards do we have left?
You must understand, when I say that Alejandro is presenting his work with Ignatius, Alejandro is presenting what the Justicars deserve to see of his work with Ignatius.
So when you say Ignatius, you just mean the Ignatius.
Yes.
Very well.
this is our Bill of Rights, so to speak. We're showing that we can coexist peacefully even with differing opinions. I mean, America was a great experiment at one point, and well,
It's still
Mixed
an
results.
experiment. We're essentially showing Mommy and Daddy that we're allowed to take the car to a college party.
That I'm more familiar with. So, people
Yes.
manipulating their way into the hearts and homes of friends of ours aside, if we're showcasing Alejandro's work and Lydia, what are we not telling them? What should we avoid talking about if it comes up?
It is best to know the off-limit topics.
I agree with that.
You all will limit your conversations to shepherd business only. Should you be asked about Lydia, that's not your department. Should you be asked about Alejandro, that is not your department.
So we play their game right back at them.
Exactly.
So only talk about
Lost Childer.
helping Lost Child.
We don't have
Yes.
opinions.
Well, and in my case, I would also talk about
I'm used to
holding
being told
the
that my opinions
Masquerade
don't
and
matter. Yeah,
You
these
would-
tracks.
Yes, Mel, you would also speak of your work on keeping Elysium. Any positive anecdotes you can give of interactions with fellow supernaturals to show that not only can we hold one Elysium without incident, we can hold hundreds of them.
Will Mooney be speaking at this event as well?
Mooney has been invited. She
Bold.
has not yet answered.
I imagine I'll also be backing up Olivia when speaking about the Lost Childer School, should I be asked.
Yes.
Will other non-Kindred Kindred be there?
But
I'd be surprised.
Mooney is the only one who's been invited, but given the history of Garu killing Kindred on sight, I think she may have concerns that her appearance will be taken as hostile.
yeah,
As
I can
for
see
the
that.
others, the changelings are dealing with their own thing. They, from my understanding, have employed a couple of our Nosferatu to take care of a distressing situation.
Well, that's good.
The mages, there's only maybe 3 of them, and they have no desire to attend.
that tracks. If they're anything like, what's her face?
I'd be surprised if they were.
Will Lydia speak on her deprogramming?
Yes.
And are we, I say we, are you and the rest of the board prepared to have a conversation about that?
I believe you and Alpha will be speaking about that.
All right.
On that vein, does the deprogramming hurt Tilly in any way? Does she like soak up any of the nasty?
From my understanding, it merely exhausts her. It is a great deal of laborious effort.
But it does hurt the person
Gotcha.
who it is happening to.
It hurts the person to a degree. Much in the way any great expunging of pain hurts.
It is a resurfacing of trauma and then a removal.
Yes, but the resurfacing. Well, I think we've been well briefed.
Do you have ideas, suggestions, anything party related?
What are you doing for food? In a strictly Kindred area.
It's always the first question for any good party.
The ministry is insisting on taking care of that.
Having ministry representatives as well.
Just inviting everyone.
The ministry never left town.
We know this.
Yeah,
We met
we
a
know.
couple.
They took a shine to it here after the Succubus Club, and they wish to stay on for official parties. And since the Camarilla has a positive relationship with them, I will not pretend to imagine that the Justicars have noble flavors in mind.
Didn't you guys have an issue with the ministry provided food and drink?
I did not
that-
imbibe. I did not imbibe.
No, wasn't there an incident? I
Inside.
vaguely recall you mentioning.
A small one, but
That.
People get out of control from time to time, but given that this is not the Succubus Club, and this is an official party, there will actually be punishment.
Good.
to be honest, I don't know if I'm more surprised that they're going to be at this party or that the Camarilla actually has a decent relationship with them at this point.
Yes, and.
Okay, so we have food covered, we have theme covered, we have location covered, we have those to
Security.
be in attendance, security, parking. I'm assuming will be provided. Valet.
We will
secure.
have, yes, we have, my staff will be providing valet.
Make them pay for parking.
It could be a fundraiser.
Bring in some commerce.
Parking comes free with the event.
Fair. Are we doing anything? Are we doing anything entertainment-wise apart from this being mostly a timeshare presentation?
That is,
It really is.
that is something that I figured all of you may be better suited to telling me as you are younger. I was going to spring for a local string quartet. They do all manner of film soundtracks and video game soundtracks that felt hip. But also, all of the presentations are in a side boardroom.
Oh wait, the candlelight thing?
Yes.
Yeah, they're great, actually. And you said this is mostly princes and Justicars.
Yeah, I don't- I
think
They'll
that we-
probably, yeah.
The lower the volume and intensity, the better, given who will be in attendance.
Yeah.
Well, there will be a large party room where they may dance and drink and commingle. The presentations will be in a side room, as there are only maybe 6 in attendance that you'll be making these presentations to.
Oh, this is like formal.
Your part will not be as formal. They will likely only want to chat with you. Mel's will be far more
Gotcha.
formal.
Okay. Cool.
That's the thing, is I don't know to what degree we should go with this. I don't know if it should be some just throughout the party demonstrations that might dazzle and awe them, or if we should go full Olympics
We have
with this.
plenty of.
Oh no, for this just party, they will come to you
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
talk to you.
speak as spoken to.
No, I'm talking about the entertainment element.
Oh.
I could spring for dancers.
Aerialists. That would be neat.
Oh, I could. I could
I mean,
get us.
origami and folding, it's very similar to what they would do. So,
I'll ask the aerialist if they can set up on the lawn.
Yes.
That feels appropriate.
Yes.
Don't look at me.
We've got plenty of lost childer to essentially do progress report. We can show what a Ventru lost childer looks like. We can show what a don't have that one. We can show plenty of examples essentially.
Well, I mean,
If there are any lost childer that you feel are exemplary and would not blow our cover, so to speak.
exemplary lost childer. I can think of one at this table right now.
Oh, that is correct.
Don't look at me.
Aaron. You are our most exemplary, holding a position in
Have a
court.
job now, yeah.
But if there are any others that you feel, take time to think on it.
Sure.
And send me their information.
I will need to, because the exemplary and will not blow our cover tends to be two very different categories for most students I know.
Well, there's not a lot of cover to worry about being blown, considering everything that we have ever done will be on display for this party.
It's more of who do I want talking to important people.
Oh, well, that as well. That as well.
Good.
So many scenarios come to mind.
No. It is Elysium, so I will assume that people will be on their best behavior. Or, wrath will be taken upon them.
Yes. I anticipate at least one death that evening, so.
Great.
Conservative, I suppose.
Could
Well,
be worse.
There's one that, the one that I'm aware of, is intentional. To keep things interesting.
Like a murder mystery party.
Oh, Aaron.
We'll have to plan that for the next
no,
one.
No, but
I think a murder mystery would be delightful.
As long as you're like
We
doing
have-
a fake murder, not like a real murder. And then
this
you
is
catch-
where so there's somebody that we're intending on killing at this party.
The finer details of it will be discussed with you, Mel. For everyone else, I am to understand that for this to be sold as it needs to be, the fewer that know, the better.
So this is a strategic murder.
Correct. This is a
Interesting.
strategic political murder in which the victim is entirely aware and has chosen this.
And here I am trying to think of entertainment for the party.
As I hear, beheadings at your parties are in the vogue, so.
So I do need to impress upon you that should you see a situation occur, if I do not move towards it, neither shall you. Understood?
Yes.
I assure you, if something gets out of hand, you will find me buzzing around it like a fly.
I have one question before we wrap up.
Yes.
What is the ultimate goal of this party? What are we trying to accomplish?
We want to accomplish full recognition of autonomy to follow through on our experiment of a Renasherie Camarilla and show its potential return of investment to the Camarilla.
Are we trying to expand the Renasherie Camarilla and share it with other areas?
We are allowed to express that that is our hope should this experiment succeed. We are presenting this as if we just came up with this idea not too long ago.
Okay.
But we don't want it to seem like we're already out to convert people.
Correct.
Well,
Converting people means that we have the arrogance to know better than the Camarilla.
And we wouldn't want them to think that,
never.
would we?
Never.
As far as
Can't
they
steal their
know,
thunder.
as far as they know, We've been experimenting for a couple years now. We think we have all the kinks worked out. We are finally in a state to request approval.
I think of all the things currently, I feel like we are operating as smoothly as we have, given all of the various obstacles we've overcome. There's not a better time than now. There really isn't.
I suppose the election of Alpha will be also noted if we're trying to prove that it can work.
And his successes to this degree are to be noted.
To that question, how has your role adapted to a prince like Alpha?
As Seneschal, I find myself doing far more of what I think a typical prince would do. Alpha finds himself a lot more hands-on in a way that I admire. If somebody breaks the Masquerade by accident, I am the one orchestrating the efforts to cover it. Alpha is the one going to speak to the Kindred, help them however they may need.
Being the face.
Being the face, being the person, being more of a parental role to the city, where I sit doing the bureaucracy of it. I find that to be a much better relationship than other cities where a prince and a seneschal are simply bedmates.
Usually we're trying to betray each other.
Typically.
Are there any terrible phrase for prince. Is there anything that you've noticed with Alpha's style that we can help cover, provide suitable face for this kind of crowd at the party?
Stand in direct approval of his way of doing things. Speak to its effectiveness, that you have seen the positivity that a hands-on prince can provide, one who's willing to come down from a tower, while also impressing that my role is far more entrenched than your typical seneschal, because I do believe their concerns will be that a heavily involved prince is an at-risk prince.
So support the process.
Okay.
Support the process while also supporting the fact that should Alpha's affection for the community get him meeting an untimely final death, that I pick up exactly where he left off with absolutely no hiccup in service.
Well, the fact that 2 of our members of this coterie belong to his, I would say, speaks very well of the fact that Gangrel can lead and are just as worthy of being a part of the Camarilla, should they want to be, as any other.
And if you must, use my status as a Ventru backup for him to show that if they have antiquated notions, there is still someone of the clan of kings behind him.
Can do.
Some of them will favor that antiquated notion far better.
I think speaking to their prejudice while also meeting it with higher expectations would be the best way of going about it.
One may accept Tarzan when Jane is standing with him.
Clans notwithstanding, I think that the actions of everybody involved speak well to how things have been going, and you can see the results.
Here.
That alone should be enough.
Okay.
Yes, don't lay it on thick. They'll know when they're being sold to, but they will also probably grill you, so be prepared with honeyed words.
Very fair.
I'm a very big proponent of the way that we do things at the moment, so won't be hard.
Any final questions, concerns, ideas?
I think the string quartet's a good idea for background music. That's
I
about
agree.
it at this point. I think we have enough activity happening at this party that cramming more into it will just muddle things.
I purposely chose a more hip band as I feel that Atlanta is better served when it doesn't act like New York or LA. We are not that kind of city, and we should remind them as such. And I think a Justicar trying to have a fancy time while listening to the soundtrack of The Matrix on the string quartet
Yes, absolutely.
is quite indicative of Atlanta.
It's a melding of the times.
Precisely.
Please also Star Trek: The Next Generation. If you can just,
I'll make
please
sure it's
ask
on the
them,
list.
Please. Thank you.
They must take requests.
It is, yes.
Welcome
I am
the
to
Deep
believe
South.
so far we have The Matrix, The Lord of the Rings. I will add Star Trek.
Please.
We have multiple Marvel movies to speak to our involvement with the film industry.
Some of them filmed here.
And I have personally requested Run the Jewels.
Or we can
The
request.
string quartet.
We can request not
Ooh.
movie soundtracks.
They preferred movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks, but
Oh,
I
Run the Jewels counts.
asked if there was
Absolutely.
time for them to learn one or two Run the Jewels songs for me.
They did a song in that one video game. They count.
They're Atlanta.
Exactly. The goal is to show them that, yes, Camarilla may work fine for New York and Los Angeles, but Atlanta is different, and we always have been, and we always will be.
Works.
If that's all, you can continue about your evening. You know where to find me.
I've got nothing else.
One last request, I guess.
Yes,
Can we get copies of the guest list ahead of time?
absolutely.
That actually would be very helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
Get having a sense of who we're going to be talking to.
Absolutely. That would do well to prepare you all.
And as well as anybody of note that
Also, if you could
Yeah.
please send me any information about your blood hunt, I will make sure Alpha is properly briefed.
Yeah.
And as far as no ghouls, can he be outside of the area or not in attendance at all?
Per general rules, there is a... I hate this term. There's a bit of a daycare for ghouls. It's a secondary venue that is the... You've been to the Botanical Gardens where you
Yes.
pick up your tickets. There is a
Oh, great,
boardroom
okay.
there where the gift shop is.
But they will be within distance.
Ghouls are allowed to remain in the boardroom that's above the gift shop. They are
Okay.
not allowed to enter the gardens.
Okay.
I
great.
feel like he would hate hanging out with some of the more stuffy ghouls.
Well, I would rather him be close than not. Just my own personal.
Coach.
Very well.
Thank you, Seneschal.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
I guess we'll head on out.
Yeah.
All right. And so we're going to jump forward a few nights. Jackson,
Yeah.
you've been spending your evenings with Coda lately.
More often than not.
And for tonight, she has decided to have a movie night. She's made popcorn because she likes the smell. And she
Smell
has
good.
settled in with you to watch Westworld. She has a 2-level apartment with a downstairs that has a kitchen, a bathroom, dining room, living room is open to a 2-story window, and stairs leading up to a loft where her bed is. And you're both sitting on the couch with Robin curled up in a too big for him now, very lush pet bed. Though he is growing some.
Handing him pieces of popcorn.
Yes, he's very sleepily reaching out and grabbing the popcorn and just forcing it into his mouth. And he's got a little blanket on him that Coda crocheted for him. Not very well, but it was during her 3-week heavy interest in crochet that she promptly forgot about entirely.
Yep.
And you guys are just sitting, watching TV.
Okay.
And she's like, "So, what's the party that you all are doing?"
Oh. They're trying to prove to local princes and Camarilla higher-ups that the way of doing politics here is better than other places, in the sense of asking permission to do the thing that I've already been doing.
Okay. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Me neither.
It's
Probably
bold.
poorly.
Should I go?
I wouldn't. It's only going to be Kindred. I can't even bring Robin. Not that I would.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good for him. But what if you like need me to listen?
Technically, it's Elysian rules. You're not supposed to use your powers, so hopefully...
But I have no control over it.
That's very valid. I will say, hopefully it won't be necessary. I have bluntly asked if I had anything to be concerned about with other local princes coming into the area, and it was told no. So.
They know that for sure?
No, but worst case, I'll just kill someone.
Elia, you can't. You can't just do that.
I can, unfortunately.
Elia.
It's the botanical gardens. I know the area really well. I will just leave without breaking any rules.
Okay.
I'll just leave.
Okay.
Worst case, I'll turn into a bird. That'll entertain everyone.
I like your bird form.
Thank you. If they're useful.
And Aaron, you had a message that you wanted to send?
I did. I, at some point, wanted to just text Coda. Could I meet up with you at some point?
And she gets that message and she looks, I have a message from Aaron. Said he wants to meet up. You want to see him?
Interesting. I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah,
Anyone
well,
wants
just
to
tell him he
meet.
can come over. And
Okay.
she sends you a message that just says, okay, with a location drop
Okay.
for the flats at Pont City Market.
Gotcha. I will get in my car, head on over.
All right. And as you head to Pont City Market, you take the elevator up. It's essentially where the market has the first two bottom levels. The flats are their own levels above it, of lofts in the top of the market. And
Just knock on the door.
okay, and she'll jump up from the couch, and Robin just and she
Popcorn.
goes over and throws open the door. Hi.
You must be Coda, yes?
Yes.
Great to meet you.
Hi.
Oh. I make a connection.
Oh,
Hi,
that's
Jackson.
right. That's right. You never met me.
I did not.
No.
I heard about you, though.
Oh, the other you was very nice too.
I wanted to thank you for being nice to other me.
Oh, come on in. Come on in.
Thank
come
you.
on. And she shuts the door, and you see that same, like, you kind of walk through, like, bathroom to the left, kitchen, dining room open thing to the right. And ahead is a living room with a TV on the wall and 2-story of loft window with a beautiful view out from Pont City Market.
Do you, like, board this up?
I installed shutters.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking. I had a gift for you for being so kind to other me.
Oh, you didn't have to do that. That was other you.
I know, but from what I heard, he didn't have the best time.
No,
And
he had a very rough go of it.
you were one of the few people that helped make that transition out of the city safer, making him feel in a safe place.
I tried.
Aaron will kick on with the Oblivion restat, fortify the inner facade,
Okay.
and Coda doesn't hear any thoughts or any white noise. It's just quiet.
And she tries listening, but there's a calm that overtakes her that you didn't realize you had never seen her have before now. She's concentrating quite hard, actually, but as she tries, she's clearly unsuccessful. But there's a soft, quiet joy in her from that. For Coda, all thoughts come to her whether she wants them to or not. Her mind is a constant barrage of things that she doesn't want to hear. But trying to listen to you, it's silent. There's nothing. And she keeps staring at you, and you see tears well up in her eyes of blood tears. She smiles and just doesn't say a word. She just takes your hand. She just holds your hand for a minute, gives a little squeeze. She just stays focused for a second.
I'm a really good listener. And if you ever need just a quiet moment, someone to talk to without feeling their surface level thoughts or any judgment, if you just want to be quiet for a bit, for a Malkavian, I imagine that's precious. So this is an open invite if you ever just want to gossip at some point.
Thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate that. Oh, Ilya, it's so quiet.
You gave Robin a cool nickname. How sweet.
No, it's... Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I have to die now.
You know what? If there is one person I do trust with that information, it is you.
Okay.
So
I will not share that consciously.
thank you.
Could have come
Oh,
out better.
I can show you what Robin learned.
Please, yeah.
And she goes and she kind of like wakes up Robin a little bit, just like,
Hey.
and he's like,
Ah.
and he comes over and she gets her phone and pulls up Spotify and she puts on Uptown Funk and sets it beside him, and you watch as Robin proceeds to do a little dance and shake as he has discovered he loves dancing
Yep.
after your interaction with Sin.
Yep.
And
Amazing.
she goes,
I can't get him to stop. He loves it.
Do you have, I imagine that would immediately be a Masquerade value.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, not necessarily. There, people have performing pets.
That's...
But still, not prefer to not.
Maybe not this
Not a spot.
good.
No, maybe like a little filter every now and then. Okay.
I'm trying to teach him the single ladies dance. He's not very good at it. It's okay, Robin. I love you.
Well, just wanted to swing by, say hi, and again, thank you.
Thank you. Really. You can come over anytime. Well, okay. Message me before you come over.
Will do.
Because anytime would be bad.
Can do, and I'll head out the door.
and she shuts the door behind you, and she just comes back and sits on the couch and kind of is just blank staring at the wall for a minute as she just feels the thoughts kind of sliding back in, and she just takes your hand and holds it real tight, and she says,
I haven't heard quiet like that in 30 years. You have nice friends.
Yeah. I do.
and what are your surface level thoughts at that?
Oh, weird. I have friends.
And she just pats your cheek and settles back in and has to like reach over and grab her phone and turn off the song, and Robin's like,
I throw more popcorn. I just like grab a handful of popcorn and throw it at him. And then I pull my phone out and I text Aaron and I just say, thank you.
Anytime. Not while driving, but when I get home.
when you eventually get home.
Yep.
All right, and so as you head back home, you also have a text from Alpha that says, heard you met with Alima. She has a lot of ideas, but also would like you to be with me during the party.
Can do. Yes.
And he sends you back some yikes emojis of the face going. Ugh. It goes, one of the Justicars coming knows who you are to me.
That's a small crowd.
And he replies, if anything, you're an example to sires not being, how would he say this? Tells you sires not being as important in the way that we now do things.
No more responses. Just a thumbs up, because I can send emojis now.
Yes. And he says, thanks, sorry, it might be kind of weird, and sends a thumbs up.
Okay.
And Jackson, is there anything else you wish to do?
No. Not at this time.
Okay. I think before we move on to other things, why don't we go ahead and take our break? Let's get some water, stretch our legs, and we'll come back with some other special moments. Welcome back. And so, across town, Mel, when you get back to the penthouse for the night, what do you do when you get to the penthouse?
Is this directly is it the same night, directly after
Yes.
the meeting? I am going to text Alpha.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, I think we're overdue for a follow-up conversation. If I'm expected to be a face of what the Renasherie Camarilla can be along with you, I think I need to know what our future looks like.
All right. And you're just standing in the living room texting him?
Yeah, I probably would have just walked in and sat down, kind of put my bag down, and you know, I'm assuming Mark is with me, as he always is,
Yeah.
and I would have just sat down in the living room.
Mark is in the kitchen currently heating up a Red Baron pizza in the oven.
Yes, I was very concerned after the meeting. Not like in a way of you know, frightened concern, but I was concerned about what the future looks like and how I can be a part of, you know, making it come to fruition.
Okay. And it takes a bit. So Mark finishes cooking the pizza. He brings it in. He turns on the TV. He's far more relaxed than you are because he got message that he essentially gets a free night with food and drink provided. And all he has to do is be nice to a bunch of stuffed shirt other ghouls.
He's used to that. He worked in the government, so
Yeah.
he'll be fine.
He's quite used to being around other ghouls.
Yeah, literally,
And,
yeah.
And, you know, so Mark's having a great time. He's going to get a night of the finest food and the finest wine imaginable for free.
That's great.
So he's enjoying his $4 Red Baron pizza. And he's sitting with you, and you do get a response
Okay.
from Alpha. And it says, check your bedroom, winky face, hearts, sparkle emoji.
And Mel is like visibly disturbed by that message.
Mark's like, Mark, pizza half in mouth. What?
Can you go to my bedroom, please? I'm not just
Mel.
wait. No.
Mel, no, listen.
No, Mark. Just please go.
I appreciate it.
No.
Honestly, I saw
no.
this coming. This happens with ladies all the time.
No. See, that's
I couldn't even keep it in. No, what do you need?
just could you go before me and let me know if there's anybody in there? I just go look for me.
We're gonna
please.
have to redefine my job parameters.
Well,
And he goes down the hall, shoving the pizza into his mouth,
I'm like behind him, like creeping behind him, like, oh god.
and he creaks open the door and goes, "Anybody in here?
What do you see?
Hello?" And he sticks his head in. He pops back out and he goes, "I've got horrible news for you.
What?
There's somebody in there,
What?
and
Who?
they're a real square." And he pushes open the door, and you see a large box on your bed. Probably about, I'd say maybe a little over 2 feet by 3 feet, and about a few inches thick, with a red ribbon tied around it with a card attached.
Okay. And I'm not feeling very trusting of what's happening, so I'm gonna say, I'm like pat him on the shoulder and say, can you go get the can you just go read the card and tell me, like, pick it up? Is it heavy? Is it jingling?
And he looks back at you and he goes,
Does it smell like anything?
"You are very paranoid right now. Is there something going on?"
No, I just don't like having things show up in my bedroom.
Well, I imagine if this is a gift from someone, they probably didn't want your roommates to take it.
Well, okay, if you think it's fine. And she's gonna kind of scoot past it, and very uncomfortable with the idea of romance. Like, incredibly, entirely uncomfortable with the idea of romance. And that's part of it. It's not paranoia, it's discomfort, right?
Oh, yeah.
And from Alpha, it's like uncomfortable. So red ribbon, big thing, sparkly emojis, hearts, too much. It was too much. So Mel's gonna just kind of lift it, and what does she feel?
It's rather heavy. It is pretty heavy.
Is it loose? Is it solid?
No, it feels like there's not like a shake of small
I
objects
see.
inside, but it is pretty hefty. And the card says, "To Mel from Alpha."
Okay. Is it in any sort of handwriting that's like
on the envelope for the card.
like? But is okay.
It's
all right.
it's a card that it's a card that is inside an envelope.
I see. Okay, so then I'll take the card out, I guess.
Okay. And the card reads,
Oh gosh.
"The history you've led has been a defining voice in Atlanta's future. Never forget where you came from. Sincerely, Alpha."
And she's gonna close the card and like kind of pull at the ribbon, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and open it up.
And so when you open it, it's a painting that you recall from museums, but this is a print of it, one that you have not seen before until now. It's been framed as if it is definitely an original, as it is a quite gilded and elaborate framing around it, which is probably where the heft is coming from.
Yeah.
It's Une exécution capitale, Place de la Révolution by Pierre-Antoine de Maquis, 1793. You remember that day pretty well, a day of execution, and in the crowd, as you scan the painting, there is a small woman, revolution ablaze in her eyes, yourself as you remember, and you've come a long way, but as this painting reminds you, you have always been and will always be true to who you are.
And she's just gonna kind of like sit down on the bed next to it, and one of the things that the painting will recall, as will her countenance, that anybody would see, are the flaws in her skin and her mouth and her eyes and her, you know, all of those little things that made her human are now a huge part of her as a kindred. The hair has changed, obviously, and on occasion there's been some slight facial changes for recognition purposes, you know.
And as you're looking at the painting, have you removed it from the box to look at it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still kind of just looking at it. But yes, I guess now I will lift it.
And so as you lift it, there is a manila envelope underneath the frame, and quite thick too.
Okay, well, definitely gonna open that. Now that I know it's not anything romantic or bloody, you know, now I'm
You can kind of gather that Alpha was messing with you.
yes, yeah.
And the front page says, "For the eyes of Melisenda List Embrace only. First draft. The Articles of Independence and Establishment of the Renasherie Camarilla. To declare the sect in its own denomination of the Camarilla and all governing documents and amendments within it." And inside the envelope is also a red pen with a little tag tied to it that says, "Be honest, no Tate to hell and back."
Oh my gosh. Okay. Mal is just like and I'm assuming Mark stayed there. Like, did he leave? Did he?
He's standing outside the door.
Okay. And Mel is gonna be like furiously flipping through it to like look for just the things that they had talked about. Is she finding most of the things
Yes.
that they had talked about?
You find that he has taken every idea that you had and he's expanded it to the best of his abilities, but there are also some of his own notes in here.
Yeah.
Such as circling a sentence that says, "I don't know how to say this properly."
Yeah.
You know, sentences that say, "And we're not gonna fucking do that," with an
Right.
asterisk that
Yeah.
says, "Help me."
Yeah. Okay. And like, so the sound of her like flipping through pages, like,
Yeah, Mark's
furiously.
like, as he's shoving another piece of pizza in his mouth, he just goes, "What is it?"
It's what we went to the Constitutional Congress for.
Oh.
And she's gonna basically like just avoid eye contact with him, just completely hyper focus, and just grab the whole thing, grab the pen, shove everything off the desk, not anything that's breakable, obviously, but like paper, everything off the desk, and sit down with the pen and start going at it. And the picture is great and all, but at this moment She is ready to rip
and
through
Mark
this
just
page.
kind of pats your shoulder, and he goes, and like seeing the painting, he's like, oh, I'm gonna need a wall anchor. And he like goes back to the kitchen, and you can hear him fishing around in a drawer trying to find that one pack of wall anchors that has like maybe 2 or 3 in it. And he comes back and he goes, sorry, and just starts hanging.
And like
the
she's gonna be like writing
painting
like,
in your room
furiously and say, no, we're not using any command strips this time.
Nope,
Mark,
got wall
command
anchors.
strips.
Got
Yes.
wall anchors.
Okay,
We're good.
Great.
And he's behind you, just like not really caring that you're focused at the moment because he just wants to get this hung up because it clearly looks very expensive to him.
Yeah.
So he's just like, get this away from anyone who might hurt it.
Well, and
There
Mallory
we
could
go.
not be bothered. Literally nothing else exists but this paper in front of her and the pen. So she is just going after it.
And your phone buzzes again, and then Mark's phone buzzes.
No.
And Mark checks his phone because he knows you're busy. He just kind of goes, and he texts back.
And I mean, Mel's not gonna look up. She's
And,
not, he
and
can,
he's
he
just-
can tell her or not. She's
and
not
he's
looking
just
up.
like grinning, and then he just like puts your phone on the desk and slides it over to you and taps the screen for the notification to come up.
Okay.
And it's Alpha, and it just says, "Gotcha. You're welcome."
And then and with that, she'll like earmark the page and like pick it up, and then she'll say, without any like capitalizations or any punctuation, don't use those emojis in that order again, and send it no emojis, no punctuation, no capitalization, literally just those words.
And he sends back, winking, tongue out, thumbs up, okay symbol.
All of that's okay. All the tongue out was a little borderline for Mel, but everything else was good. And she's just gonna send back.
And he gives you a genuine reply this time
Yeah.
that says, truly, I value you and everything that you are and everything that you have brought to this city. Had to mess with you a little bit because I know what you expect of me, but never doubt that I respect you a great deal.
And Mel will send back. Gosh. It's been centuries, and it's hard to always try to do the right thing by everyone. But here, I've been able to do what's right by myself. And send that. And say, and then she'll say at the end of that, that is the greatest reward you could have ever given me. And then send that. And then back to the pages. Like, just, and I want to point
And
out.
there is no further reply.
Okay. I want to point out that on one section in general, let's say it's whatever section is about law and order.
Yes.
She's going to notate in big, giant letters. Maybe put on the next page, whatever. And it's going to be something about there being a constitutional requirement for counsel for anybody who was ever accused of anything.
So
And-
essentially ratifying trials and right to counsel.
Correct. Yeah. Basically, yeah. And also that there needs to be a new court member whose sole duty it is to speak for all Kindred in general and for the betterment of Kindred. Not for any one clan, not for any one sect, not for any one belief, but for there to be somebody that needs to be there to defend
A public defender.
a public defender, yes.
Okay.
So to speak, yes.
Okay.
And then like
And there
write
is
all
stuff
that.
in there about making trials a regular thing, but he has you can tell that the notes that he's written in there are very much things that he learned from the trial of Anton on how to run trials, how to change trials,
Yeah.
who should be invited to them, if they should be allowed to be a public affair, if juries should be allowed. Because there is some defining of masquerade breaches should be private trials versus breaking of the traditions being public trials,
Yeah.
etc.
Right. And Mel, I mean, as far as Mel is concerned, the idea is defense of all against the other, right? The idea of we that each is enjoying their own autonomy and freedom within this larger system, but also being protected against the system itself, right? Because
Absolutely.
people need to be protected like that. So
Absolutely.
that's how she will be kind of diving in. And I mean, literally nothing else exists now outside of that phone information. She sent it, but completely hyper-focused now.
And Mark just goes back to the living room with his pizza, knowing like she's in the zone.
It'll be a while.
Just gonna leave it. And so with that, and with Mel going into her hyper focus of the night, on the next night, Anton, you get a text from Proctor. It only includes an address and nothing else.
Is it? I guess it's not an address I recognize.
Not off the top of your head, but you could look it up if you so choose.
I'll have to plug it into maps in the first place anyway. So
Looking it up, it leads you to a home in East Atlanta Village.
I just text back BYOB ?
And you do not get a response.
And I figured as much, and I'll just grab a lift over there.
All right. And so let me actually roll for your Lyft driver at this time of night.
Sure.
It is a bumpy ride. They are going way too fast, but the kind of fast where you can tell that they know they're not going to get arrested.
I drive a Jackson, I know.
Yeah.
It's actually just Jackson. Side gig.
Vicissitude Jackson.
Side hustle.
Night gigs.
Moonlighting.
And so driving in, EAV looks as it usually does, incredibly hip to the point that no matter how old or young you are simply too uncool to be there. But they follow the directions and you wind up at a 2-story home, larger row house style with the upstairs balcony. The house's exterior has been painted with an intentional kind of graffiti. There are magnolias with iconic buildings of the EAV area, portraits of key figures of Atlanta, and along the about 3 foot of concrete foundation is graffiti signatures of all the contributing artists with their own style. The house is extremely colorful. That graffiti takes up nearly the entire house. There's maybe a couple feet of remaining space up at the top. And Proctor is standing on the porch in her sweater and just waves.
Nice place.
Come on in. I've got something to show you.
Okay. I'll just looking over the art a little bit more. I'll walk in behind her.
Yeah, she actually gives you a moment because there's some on the porch, and she does walk you around the house, kind of showing off, like, okay, and this signature here did that set of flowers, and this one here did that portrait of Killer Mike, and that one of Ludacris, and over here we've got, like, this building and this building, and she gives you, like, a little art tour before you go into the house. And when you walk in, you see a nice foyer with the living room, entryway with a table of flowers, all the fancy decor of a hip EAV home, lots of IKEA, lots of Wayfair. But then Proctor steps behind you towards the door. She goes, "What do you think?"
Well, I never thought you'd get tired of the farm, but I suppose it's pretty nice.
"Oh no, I still have the farm."
Makes sense. I'll just turn around to face her.
"You like it?"
I mean, I've only seen the entrance so far, but yeah, it's a nice location. It's a good place.
"Why don't you look around a little?"
Incredibly ominous, but okay. And I'll just...
"I put a lot of effort into decorating. I want it appreciated."
Very fair. I'll just take a couple steps backwards until like looking through doors before I start
Yeah,
continuing.
so that front entryway goes straight back, so there's an entrance to the side to the kitchen, a side to the living room, a staircase that goes upstairs. And you can kind of look around, like I said, very, like, you know, there's the fake hanging potted plants in the kitchen from the little crocheted baskets, a bowl of fake fruit. You know, she has clearly put a lot of effort into making this place look like a very nice home.
Naturally, I'm touching everything as I go through.
Oh, yeah.
But
And as you make your way back around to the front, Proctor just has this shit-eaten grin on her face. Unlike anything you've seen before, she looks almost mischievous.
it's everything in my power to not figure out if you are actually Proctor right now, because this is something entirely new.
Maybe this'll help. And she shuts the door and pulls out an ornate key with amethyst filigree in it and locks the door. And you watch her lock it, and when you look back, the entire facade of this lovely home fades away. And before you, after this long time, is the new Tremere Chantry. The layout is the same, but each room now has walls of shelves filled with books, relics in cases, packing boxes all over the place, opened and half unpacked, some actually broken down and stacked near the front door for recycling. And you hear footsteps come rushing down the stairs to see Cornelius smiling at you over his square purple glasses. "Welcome! Sorry, Proctor wanted it to be a surprise."
Consider it a surprise. Let's turn back to Proctor.
And you see that she is genuinely smiling.
Did you trade your gruff exterior to the Fae for this?
No, consider it... I thought what I wanted was to make sure everything we had was hidden and protected. But putting this together with Cornelius, I kind of realized I think I like us having a more defined place in this city.
I think so too. It's what I tried to have the Athenian be for a bit, but this is beyond all of that.
Come on, let me show you something.
Sure.
And she walks you through the living room, which has beautiful couches in it. There's a couple relic cases, and that's where a lot of the books are being unpacked. Leads you through the kitchen. The kitchen is a little more old style with those copper and brightly colored stoves and fridges, very vintage style, but the stove seems mainly for artistic decoration. The fridge is a double wide fridge that contains blood that is needed, as well as you see in the crisper drawers various containers marked Cornelius or Proctor or Astra, like components that perhaps need to be refrigerated.
Mm-hmm.
And you see little effects of all of your friends throughout here. The other Tremere have moved in already. It seems that you were the last one to be surprised. And she leads you down a hallway through a door in the back kitchen that leads to a separate hallway to another door. And this time there is a nameplate on it, Anton Krovopuskov. And she steps back and just gives a flourish to the door.
We all have our own offices.
In a manner of speaking.
Let's turn the knob and open the door.
When you go in, it's not a huge room. It's the size of a master bedroom. Or it might have been before it was packed full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look around, make me a wits and awareness roll.
Okay. 2.
Booby traps.
You know what?
Surprise.
I'll burn willpower for the hell of it. Why not?
Okay.
3.
One of the only times Anton doesn't have 9 dice.
3's better than 2.
Yeah.
So it takes a while of looking around because there is just so much stuff in this room. It is filled to the
I'm
brim.
just picking it up and examining it all.
But as you look around, it's not just boxes of things to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
All of these boxes in this room are marked evidence with red tape that's been ripped off for the most part. And though it has been 2 years, you begin to notice some familiar things in the boxes.
It takes probably about 2 minutes before I just sort of stop and drop whatever the object is that I'm holding.
It's a book.
Luckily. It's a very slow turn to Proctor.
And she's just standing in the doorway, just...
How?
You can thank Mr. Blackwater for that.
Why?
Seems the former facility of Ignatius had a storage room that they don't need anymore.
I was concerned that hunters got it.
Seems not.
But
I don't know what all's here. I'm not even gonna deign to try and organize your shit.
no, that's the safest approach. Why? Why would he do this in the first place?
He found a bunch of evidence boxes with your name on it.
And out of the goodness of his heart?
It had nowhere else to go. City over clan.
What do you mean by that?
He's Kindred.
Did Alejandro finally grow up here, or?
No, I am to believe he's not La Sombra. He only came by to drop these off. He showed up with a U-Haul with a T-Rex on it, my favorite, and said, I believe this all belongs to Anton. I was told to bring it here. The fangs were a giveaway.
I have question after question that I do not know if you have the answer to.
Probably not.
Wow.
I think what you're looking for is thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
There's a Murphy bed on that side of the wall, as I am sure you're going to be here quite a while.
Anybody else has moved in at this point? Why
Yes.
Not? Why not?
Everyone still maintains their own homes.
I mean, we've doubled the amount of Tremere in the city in the past year alone. I suppose it's about time we have a centralized location.
Indeed. And the young Hikata gentleman will be joining us here as well.
Of course. Yes, he needs some central base. Is this location also warded similarly?
Yes.
That's only... Okay.
For anyone who comes in, they will see that beautiful home that you saw.
And only those with the key? Or...
Correct.
But if somebody takes the key?
Well, then we better pray they don't know where it goes.
That's fair. Amari is going to shit himself at this.
Provided he graduates, of course.
Well, I mean,
But
hopefully he'll pay attention in class. We'll make sure he does at least.
when he graduates, this Chantry will be here for him. Also, O'Donnell claimed the biggest room, sorry. O'Donnell claimed the biggest room.
That makes sense. I don't think... I never thought I'd see the day since everything started.
I mean, you can also probably thank the hunters for that, because I imagine if all of Ignatius in that building had not gotten wiped out, you probably wouldn't have gotten it.
No, not this. Though, yes, this. I meant all of this. Having a Chantry, having the Tremere at a level where we need something like this, and not the way that things were at the time.
I also don't like everyone coming over to my house all the time.
That's fair. This is much better than having to do that. It's much better than Regent Hannah's place.
Yeah. Also, it keeps the horses from stressing out.
It's been a very long 20 years.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a minute. And she hands you your own amethyst filigree key and leaves the room and shuts the door behind her.
And it's taking a minute to slowly like go through everything. Like I without taking like a deep inventory, I'm not going to remember everything that was there. But if there were significant things missing, I want to get a sense.
There
of
is no
what's-
flamethrower.
I mean, well, that I was given. I know that part. But meta-wise, I imagine I would notice an absence of about 18 rosaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You notice that there are no rosaries. But most everything that you remember is here. And then there is a box to the side with a few poster tubes and some smaller boxes inside, and it is all of your Dolly Parton collection.
I hang them up immediately.
Can you make me another wits and awareness roll?
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and rouse some blood, because why not? I get hungrier.
Okay.
Now I have 9 dice. 1, 2, 4. Going up numerically.
There we go. You also notice that from Proctor, there is a vinyl record of Dolly Parton's first album on your desk. With a little haphazard, clearly from Last Christmas bow stuck to it, but coming off, as she probably took it off of another present and put it on this one.
It's the thought that counts.
It's the Southern save the bow tactic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna take a bit of time to just move things out that I don't want to like still put behind warded protection for other people's safety.
Okay.
I mean, sure, they obviously could have gotten into it at this point, but going forward, I have a few things that other people shouldn't be touching. So the non-dangerous things, mostly books, not all the books, most of the books, go out.
Okay.
Before I'll open the door back up again.
Okay. And then it's a hallway.
Yeah.
And you can hear Cornelius in the living room watching TV loudly. Proctor's not in the hallway.
I'm gonna just wander around. I'm just gonna sort of take survey of
Okay. And
what is in here.
Yeah, and when you go upstairs as well, you see rooms for almost everyone, with a couple empty rooms upstairs, and then downstairs where your hallway is, there is also Cornelius's room and 2 other empty rooms.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna sort of take.
It's a lot of the stuff that you saw in the silo, Chantry.
Yeah.
And a couple new things probably acquired over time. But overall, most of the things you remember are here in some facet or another.
Okay, I'm just gonna wander around until if I can find Proctor again, if she's still in this building at this point.
She is probably in her room, as you do not see her walking around.
Fair. Then, yeah, not finding her, I'll just knock on the door that I'm guessing everybody had labeled doors and not just me.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's doors are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is, and I'll just open the door.
I didn't say come in, but okay.
I'll stand out here.
It's fine. What do you want?
No, I just wanted to thank you again for setting all this up. It must have taken so long.
Yeah, took a couple of years.
I'm
Had to swap houses a couple times.
It's a good location.
Felt central enough.
I think so. Do you know how I can get in touch with Josiah Blackwell for a thank you?
Mr. Blackwater, I think.
Blackwater, yes.
You know, I'll tell him to contact you.
Even more ominous, but sure. He already knows where we live now, so.
He knows where to drop off goods.
Mm-hmm.
But without that key, no one can even access us here. You could burn down the house and still, you wouldn't get us.
It's really good to know.
I also commissioned all that art from local artists.
I like it. Like I think I noticed some of it over near Pond City Market. And
Speechless? That's certainly a first. I'm very excited about this.
honestly, yes, I spent so long wanting to rebuild everything better, and it's here.
Who knew it took a little guy with purple glasses?
We have this.
And Cornelius from, like, down the hall just goes, "That's me!"
That's right, buddy. We have this. We've got this party coming up
Yeah.
with where we're hard selling or soft selling the arnachery.
I guess. I'm going to just stick with Tilly for the night. I think it's best if I don't talk to anyone.
You two are talking again.
Yes.
I'm glad. Is Alima playing at something with this? She said some interesting things while party planning. Is she like calling herself a different clan and whatnot?
Oh, yeah, the fake Ventru shit. Yeah.
I was confused.
She thinks the Camarilla will take to her better if they assume she's a Ventru.
Over a Toreador?
When it comes to being the backup for a Gangrel prince, yeah, probably. You want the best insurance policy imaginable.
I suppose that's true.
Plus, she keeps to herself enough. Most of the people in the city don't actually know her. So,
Also very fair.
it's an easy sell. Plus, have you met her?
Frequently.
She is very easy to convince that she's a Ventru.
Did I ever tell you that when she was campaigning, she offered me the position of court warlock?
That's hilarious.
I know, right?
That's very hilarious. Especially considering that she offered it to O'Donnell as well.
That would have been fun. But no, everything's coming together, and I don't really know what to do.
How about for a change you relax?
Do I even know how to anymore?
Why don't you start by organizing your bookshelves?
Bit by bit, yeah?
Bit by bit.
Okay. I'll close her door and head back to just continue the organization of space.
Okay. And so, Jackson,
Yeah. Oh.
you get another text message. This time from an unknown number. And it's on your other phone.
Okay.
Says, "Hey, got a new number. Daughter broke my other phone. House party."
That it?
That's it.
I save the number.
Mm-hmm.
And I just reply with, "Yep, that happens sometimes."
And you get back. I know you're busy, but what do you think about getting a drink?
Like, now?
Or like soon.
Okay. Because, are you in town?
Going to be coming into town tomorrow. Have a work conference over the next week.
Okay. I was very confused for a minute. Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
You get back. Cool. What do you think about Vortex tomorrow night?
Ooh, I can do that. 9 p.m.
And he replies back, yeah, 9 p.m. works.
Cool. All right, I will see you there. The little 5, right? Not the boring one.
And he replies back, I guess, and sends you the address.
Yep, that would be it.
And you get back a picture that says, oh, by the way. And it is a picture of the girl from the graduation photo that you saw with another young man. And she is showing off a ring. And he goes, not exactly the happiest right now, but I guess in some way I am.
That's young.
You get back, yeah, but she's so certain. And he sends back a gif of Ariel going, but daddy, I love him.
And I reply, do you want him to go missing?
And you get back a thinking emoji with maybe.
I mean, I know plenty of pig farmers.
And you get back cry laughing emojis. He goes, it'll be really good to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, yes it will. And then I send back. No, I don't. I start typing out a message and then I just delete it.
Okay. And when was the last time you saw this individual?
22 years ago. In person.
Are you prepared for this person to see you again?
I could look 22 years older.
Okay.
He's off.
All right. And Aaron. When you return home that night, you get a text from Alpha that says, check your room.
God. Winky face sparkle.
Sure. I go to my room, check it out.
Okay. And you go, and there is a gift box. On the top of it is a catcher's mitt with a baseball and a winking face drawn onto the baseball.
Wilson. No, that was a volleyball. I go further and check it out.
Okay. With the catcher's mitt, there is a tag on it that just says, let's play catch sport.
Oh my god.
No.
I was hoping it'd be sport.
And when you open it, you find a note from Alpha. And it says, a collection of things I think you deserve. And one is Sunny's current phone number with a note that says, give this to Aaron. There is the death certificate of your sire. along with Alpha's signature on the bottom of it, confirming that he is fully gone. And there is a yearbook from your high school, along with a couple post-it notes inside, marking fellow classmates who have become kindred.
You know, you always suspect that one guy in class is different. Okay.
And
It's like a Billy Mays commercial. Oh wait, there's more.
Closure box.
And there is a ad that has been clearly ripped off of a bulletin board of a beer pong night hosted by your friend Patrick, with Alpha's note on it that says, "I think you should go."
Okay.
It's just a box of stuff that Alpha
Very
thought you'd like.
memorable stuff.
It's just
And at the
closure
very
box.
bottom, you see fabric and a little tag on the top of the folded fabric that just says, "This one's half a joke and half real."
I check it out further.
You pick it up, and it is a Letterman jacket from a high school in Ohio with a name on the back that you don't recognize.
I do it a once over, see if there's anything in the pockets or anything.
In the pockets, you find a ripped out yearbook page, folded up. When you look at it, you see a name you don't recognize, but a person. As this is Alpha's high school Letterman jacket with his real name on it.
Storyteller, this is worse than the SI torture.
He's apparently not as old as we
What is
thought.
Alpha doing?
Yep.
Okay, I take all of that in and put it back in the box and try to squirrel it away so no one else finds this very secret information. And I text him back, "Thank you," with my own winky tongue thing,
Oh,
because that's what he
no.
does.
No.
Oh, this feels. I try to unsend the text. I can't.
Forget how to text in the
I
last
can't.
year.
Of course he did.
And he replies back with, "I know family is not a big thing for you, but I don't have family either, and you're the closest I've got. So however I can be here for you, like a dad, I want to."
Do you play Street Fighter?
He replied back with, "I am amazing at Street Fighter."
I text back, "You really think so, Gramps?"
And you get a reply of just a row of cry laughing emojis.
Amazing.
And he sends you a picture of his custom built fight stick with the Gangrel logo painted onto it.
Of course.
Of course it is.
And his entertainment center that contains, as you look at it, every single generation of every single gaming console on it.
Of course.
He's a nerd.
Yeah, that's good. This is really good.
I text back, "It's a great thing. I can play now."
Oh.
Yeah.
And he replies back with, "Anytime, kid."
I think that's enough. I don't know if I'm on a limited plan, but that's enough texts for tonight.
Would everybody be in the house now?
Probably by now, Aaron's in his room, but everybody would have come home probably about
Would I
now.
have heard Aaron come in?
Yes, actually,
I
because
think-
you were in your room studying,
Yeah.
so you would have heard him
At this
come
point,
in.
I'm out of my room. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna holler out the door. Just I'm still sitting at my desk. I'm gonna be like, Aaron, come in here.
Sure. Past Mark in the hall. Yeah.
And I'm gonna like turn and show him the picture.
Is that?
Yeah. You know who gave this to me? Alpha.
I was gonna say, oh. Wow. Didn't we see that at the, or something like that at the art gallery? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a care package too. It was my old yearbook. So we may actually have, I may have some homework to do as far as the lost child.
And she's gonna like push back in her chair and like kind of cross her legs and her arms, be like, "Do we need to worry about being murdered at this event? Do you think?"
I think it would be terrible if certain people found out and could use our history.
Sure.
But embrace it, use it, because if it's a strength, they can't use it as a flaw. And if you just need to punch someone like your clan does, or maul someone like my clan does, we can't do it that night, but we can find plenty of other empty places.
Well, if you're not worried, then I won't be either.
Oh, I'm terribly worried. I'm leaving bloody sweat stains everywhere. It's, yeah. But I think if we can get through, we've gotten through a lot.
Yeah.
And we're still here. I was gonna say if we can get through this, we can get through anything, because that means we're always faced with challenges.
Yeah.
We always overcome them. Sometimes a little beaten and bruised, but we are here to. Is the phoenix rise? Ashes?
Yep.
Jackson's good with fires. It's good he's on our team now.
Well, and then I'm gonna like, she's just gonna like, it will be kind of a mess. The papers will be, but they'll be earmarked and.
It's like a Pepe Silva kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she'll just kind of like lean it up to him and be like, well, maybe, hopefully, you and I won't have to worry about the Camarilla or anybody else for that matter displacing us again. And she'll like point to whatever specific article it was that he had
Officially
in
incorporates the Gangrel and Bruja
Yeah.
and La Sombra and
Yeah, all
Ministry
that.
and Hakata.
hopefully now for good.
Okay. It's a brave new world.
You ever thought about being Prince? I'm just kidding. Anybody can do it nowadays, it seems like.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good one right now, though.
Yeah.
And she'll, like, put up a hand for a high five. That's covered in red ink, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Ink. We're good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not blood, it's just ink.
Okay. It's not mine. I promise.
And then she'll kind of not say goodbye and then just go back into the papers. Just, like, literally be like, okay, bye. And then, like,
It
just
takes a
literally go back
solid
to it.
minute before. Oh, okay. Yep.
Great. Storyteller,
Yes.
just to follow up on the text conversation, after that happens, I'm actually going to text Hex.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say, will you do me a personal favor?
And she sends back how personal.
Turn off the cameras around Little 5 Points tomorrow night for a while.
And she says, why?
Like I said, personal favor.
She sends back, I gotta know what kind of personal favor or I'm not doing it.
I am meeting with someone that I would prefer there is not evidence that I was seen with.
You get back, suspicious.
Some of us still have family.
And you get back, rip.
Oh.
And she says, okay, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. And so, unbeknownst to our kindred, across town, a body and a box has been discovered. And it's about to become everyone's problem.
Great.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Again, we will be out next week, but we will be back the following week with a very special new guest. So thank you all so much for joining us. We love you very much. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.